Hi everybody, so this is my first video. I've never recorded anything for YouTube or LinkedIn or anything. Video's not really been my medium, but I thought I'd give it a go. I recently wrote a blog which was called How to Level Up Your Webcam Game, and it got quite a lot of interest. I was really pleased about it. So I think with everything that's going on in the world right now, webcams and being ready for Zoom and Teams meetings is really important to people. And I took it really seriously. So at the moment, all you're looking at is just me on my, I've got a Razer Keo webcam, which has got a kind of ring light on it. I haven't got that turned on at the moment, but if we turn that on, you can see that lights me a little bit better, and you can see me a little bit clearly. So that's really good. And for most people, that's going to be absolutely fine. But I work in sales, and it was really important to me that customers could see my face. They could see my kind of micro expressions. They could see my reaction to things and help build that trust. So I wanted to make sure my picture was as clear as possible. Now that does get shot right in the foot as soon as they haven't got a good internet connection, but hey, at least the problem isn't coming from my end. So there was three things I did that I wanted to improve. I wanted them to be able to, I didn't want them to be distracted by the background. Now I work in a geek cave. Anyone who knows me knows that the stuff behind this green screen should not be consumed by anyone else who isn't a geek. I mean, the clue is the lightsaber on the wall here, but this is a real geek station. It's all the stuff that makes me happy. It's the one room in my house that my wife said I could do whatever I wanted with, so I really took that on board and went to town on it. But I don't want people to see that. It's nice to give a little bit of yourself and show people a bit of your personality, but I felt, particularly on sales calls, it was going to be really distracting. So I wanted to block that off. So the first thing I got was this green screen. Now, when I wrote the Level Up Your Webcam blog, I already talked about green screens, but the difference between this one and the one I had then was kind of permanent. It was on this kind of photography frame. We bought it for my son's first birthday when we wanted to do a cake smash, and it was great for that. But it wasn't something I wanted to keep up in here permanently for kind of two reasons, really. Firstly, I found it really claustrophobic. It was 2 meters wide, so it came right to the edges of the picture, and it was just right up behind me. So I felt like I was trapped when I was working, and I hated it. Secondly, it was the airflow. You couldn't open windows in here. You couldn't get the air through. It was just kind of blocking me in this little tunnel and making me really hot. I run hot anyway, so today I'm really struggling. It's about 33, 35 degrees outside, so it's been a tough day. Having all this computer equipment hasn't been brilliant. But yeah, so that was the first thing I bought, was this pop-up green screen. I'd really recommend it. You can see from the kind of cross-hatch bunny ears that I've got behind me at the moment, that you just push it down, you pull it up, and it works perfectly. It was £99.99. Really good investment from my perspective, given all the stuff that I'm doing online, and just that solved that first problem. The second problem I had was I wanted to make sure the audio was really good for people, so that they could hear everything I was saying. Now there is actually a mic in my Razer Keo, and I'm sure there's loads of other mics solutions as well. So often I use my so I have the Bose Quiet Comfort headphones for noise cancelling, which is really useful when you're working, and that's got a mic on, and sometimes I use that. But for something like this, where it's really important to get the sound, I actually went out and bought a mic. So I got this kind of Razer siren thing that just sits in front of me on my desk. You can't see it, but it helps get slightly better sound. Unfortunately, I'm a bit of a Razer fanboy, which is why I've got the Keo, and I've got kind of lots of other Razer peripherals around me. I've got a Razer Huntsman keyboard and Razer. I just like RGB. I'm a sucker for pretty flashing lights, as anyone who saw my recent computer build will testify to, which looks like some kind of spaceship next to me. It sounds like one every time I put any kind of power through it, because it nearly takes off with a number of fans in there. So yeah, sound is really important. The Razer Siren mic, look, it's a mic. I got it because it was white and everything else is. There's lots better mics that you can buy out there, but it was the one that I wanted to get, and I think I got it on sale on Amazon for about £60, which normal retail I think is around 90 to 100. So that was a really good deal that I happened to pick up at the time. So yeah, getting a mic is really good, but I'm not necessarily making a recommendation for this one. I'm not really an audiophile. I think sound the difference between a really high-end mic and a decent mic is I wouldn't be able to hear the difference. I'm not going to pretend I can. But the third thing is probably the thing that made the most difference for me, and it made a huge difference. So you can see me pretty well now with just that ring light, but I've got that ring light on, and I've got the one behind me at the moment. But what really made a difference for me was I went and invested in two Elgato Keylight Airs, and they are kind of these lights that I can't show you without disconnecting my webcam, but I'll put a link in the description. And they're kind of just stems with these big square lights on them, and they're diffused lights, so they should give a really nice show. And you should be able to see things really, really quickly. So I'm going to give you a demo and show just how that works. And then I'm going to show you what I use, which is called OBS. It's a free piece of software that enables you to manipulate your webcam feed before it sends it to Zoom or Teams. Really, really super useful. And it means you can put kind of branding or backgrounds and all sorts of things. So what it's going to enable me to do when I put this lighting on, it's going to show my green screen really clearly, and it's going to separate me from that. It's going to enable me to put a background. It's also going to enable me to crop the sides. So I'm going to talk you through that. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to turn off the main light, which is this one here, and I'm going to turn off the webcam ring light, so you can see the difference that that makes. And then we're going to turn on the Elgato Air. So firstly, I will turn off the main light, and you will see that this is me just lit by the Elgato. Actually, this isn't too bad. But I was thinking about the fact that actually the image certainly isn't crystal clear. And I was thinking about maybe upgrading the Razer Kio and going and getting a Brio Brio webcam, which is a kind of 4K webcam. But when I turned these on, these Elgato Airs, I was amazed at the difference, and I realised that actually I didn't need 4K. I just needed better lighting. And I should have listened to one of my really good friends, is a professional photographer, and he always talks about the importance of lighting. And how important that is to good photography. So I really should have listened to him more. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the ring light, so you'll see the difference there. So now all I'm being lit by is the light from the screen, and then at the bottom right hand corner here. And what's really cool is you can get a thing that I'm just waiting to turn up, which is called a stream deck. I don't plan on doing loads of streaming. I'm not a 13-year-old playing Fortnite. But I just wanted it because I like stuff that's electronic. Who am I kidding? I like buttons and shiny stuff. So I kind of treated myself to it. But what that's going to enable me to do is when I get a call come through, it's just going to go down here on top of one of my speakers. I can just press the button. It's going to bring up OBS for me, and it's going to turn on the two lights. So basically all of my lighting immediately is ready so that I can use it for that call. So it just is the equivalent of answering a call, and it will do it all at once. So what I'm going to do is now, and I am very hot in this room at the moment, so apologies if you can see the sweat on my brow, but we're going to turn these on, and the difference is phenomenal. I suddenly feel like I'm in a TV studio. I might have it on a little bit bright. I'm going to play around with the settings, but I do think the difference, when you can kind of see the face and everything, it makes a huge difference to what we had when I first started, and I'm really pleased with the quality of it. What I'm going to show you now is if I just go into my Razer Kio settings for my webcam, I'm going to go into the filters, and the first thing I don't like is I don't like that you can see either side of the green screen. I want to cut that off. So I use what's called an image mask for that. It's literally just a graphic that I created that is black down the sides and white in the middle. You use that file and it will crop out what you don't want it to see. So if I turn that on now, you can see there. So now you can only see that. The second thing I need to do is I need to get rid of the green screen background, so I don't want you to see any of that. So I'm going to press what's called a chroma key, and what that does is it looks for any green in the picture, and it looks to cut that out. So if we turn that on, you'll see now I'm just on no background at all. And then what I want there, hopefully you can now see, you might have been able to see that already, is you can now see my background as well. So I've got a background image, which I can turn on and off. And that's just the background image. That's my branding colours for Evermore Digital. You can now see me super clearly. I'm really happy with that. It's really well lit. It's quite hot, and I'm definitely going to look to get some kind of fan or air conditioner in here. But yeah, absolutely delighted with them. And I think they actually, more than anything, make a huge, huge difference to the quality of the picture. So yeah, thank you for looking. If you want any help, any tips, any advice on leveling up your webcam game, though it's not my primary profession, I am more than happy to help. So please just drop me a message on LinkedIn and I'm happy to help and make some recommendations. Thanks a lot for listening.